get started. This car door. Welcome to Smashinese, the world's first podcast that is recorded in the streets in real time while walking. And just so you know, Smashinese is a term I created in college that simply means the language of lovemaking. Let me cross this street, guys. It means the language of lovemaking or making out or intimacy. You call it. But I thought it was a pretty cool name. So, just to clarify, you are not having audio issues. I am recording this podcast as you and I and people all over the world are either walking or exercising. How cool is that? I guess you can consider me your free walking coach who loves to talk about relationships. Please consider walking with me while listening, because the fitness aspect of this podcast just might be the most important part from here on. And I think I'm about, 15 episodes, 14 or 15 episodes in. And I've been referring to you guys as chat, right? Like the streamers. But from here on, I will refer to all of my supporters as heart walkers. Heart walkers. Okay? It's chilly. The cold is hitting me. And with this vest on, I'm already feeling my walk just a few minutes in. Okay? But, like I was saying, I'm going to call the members of this community heart walkers, because if you're here, you're not just listening to me, you're walking with me, right? You are walking, right? Okay, I'm just making sure. You are someone who, you're the type of person that replays conversations in your head. But now you're learning how to understand those conversations. You want deeper connection in your intimate relationships. You're likely that type of person because you don't just want to point fingers at others. All of us can look within, right? You want deeper connection in your intimate relationships, and not just surface level validation. You don't want to be duped, for lack of a better word, to giving your all to just anyone. You are mature and willing to confront your own habits and not just point fingers at others. You believe growth should be lived and not just talked about. Congratulations. Being a heart walker means you accept something that honestly most people resist. That emotional growth is not a destination. It's a route or a route. Okay, R-O-U-T-E. Some say route, some say route. And you're here because you understand that if the mood isn't right, then the intimacy isn't right. And when we need some attention in the bedroom, we want that attention to be good, right? Today, I will be begging all women to do nothing for men. Say what? But before I get into what I prepared for this conversation, I need to clarify some things because there are a lot of videos on YouTube right now giving women this same advice. And if you've seen them, you've probably felt something was off. None of those videos or podcast interviews are completely wrong, though. You're feeling like something is off? I'm with you on that. But none of them are completely wrong. But guess what? I wouldn't be bringing it up unless I was also going to say, but none of them are completely right either. And that matters because when it comes to relationships, small distortions in truth create big consequences in behavior. So before we even get into my thoughts on today's topic, I want to help you develop something more valuable than advice. Listen closely now to y'all walking a little further back. This is something that we call discernment. Okay? Some of you like when I spell things D-I-S-C-E-R-N-M-E-N-T. Discernment. And all discernment is the ability to listen to someone and recognize whether they're speaking from clarity or experience or grounded understanding, okay? Which are great, by the way. Or are they speaking from, let me change my voice up, unresolved frustration or gender bias or straight up bitterness because they were hurt in the past? Because here's what happens when someone hasn't healed. They don't just get on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or a talk show, Oprah, right? They don't just share information. They project their immature maliciousness and ill intent, let's call it what it is, onto others. But they're usually charismatic, right? They may be attractive, right? Most of them, not all, but they have a legitimate psychology practice, right? They are a legitimate therapist. Usually, they have a huge subscriber or follower base. They are usually articulate. So most things that come out of their mouths, okay, sound legit. But if you really listen closely, you hear certainty without nuance. Okay? You hear confidence without balance. Or you hear advice that feels powerful but creates confusion over time. Let me show you what that looks like, because if you really, really like the messenger, you probably won't even notice, because this is usually how it is. So let's get into some red flags. The first red flag is over generalization. When you hear something like men only respond to women who do nothing, that should stop you dead in your tracks. Not because it sounds bold, but because it sounds absolute. And in human behavior, absolutes are usually a sign of oversimplification. Because real life says different men respond to different communication styles, right? All men who were blessed with initiative, and I know some of you ladies are thinking, I haven't met a man yet that was blessed with initiative, but there are a lot of us in this world, ladies, okay? Real life says that all men who are blessed with initiative have different levels of initiative. And of course, there are different relationship dynamics in every single relationship. So when someone reduces an entire group of people down to one single behavior, and don't get me started, because my generation consumes social media voraciously. And all I hear is stuff like, all men only want one thing. All women are gold diggers. All rich people are greedy. All poor people are lazy. All athletes are unfaithful. All politicians are corrupt. All influencers are fake. All introverts are antisocial. Okay, we said introvert. All extroverts are attention seeking. All single mothers are struggling. We know better. All divorced men are bitter. What else do I hear all the time? All young people are entitled. This next generation is so entitled. My generation was not like that. And then that next generation, what are they saying? A lot. All older people are out of touch. What else do we hear? All attractive people are arrogant. All quiet people are hiding something. All successful women are difficult. All stay-at-home partners are dependent. All entrepreneurs are selfish. I've heard that many times. All people who go to therapy are broken. All people who don't text back quickly are not interested. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Everything. And I could keep going and going and going. All of these things are over generalizations. Okay? And when you hear this stuff, that's not insight, people. Statements like these are what you call compression of reality. How about that for a scientific term? You must learn to recognize over generalizations. And there are the messengers that deliver passive strategies disguised as power. Now remember, we haven't even got into our topic for the day yet. I'm just setting you guys up to be able to notice when someone is projecting their pain onto you. And that usually looks like over generalization. Okay? From these type of people. Okay? You get what we just called passive strategies. Right? Nothing concrete. We get passive strategies disguised as power from these type of people in their content now, right? Because the titles that they make, that all content creators make, okay, are supposed to intrigue and hook viewers and listeners. So you click on it, right? You stop the scroll. The title sounds like you're going to get something powerful, something useful. And maybe they are a good speaker. Maybe it is entertaining. Okay? But the boring stuff isn't always bad. Just remember that in life. But you get these great titles and it hits you. Oh man, that's me. I need to hear that. I'm going through such and such and such and such right now. So you click. But when you click and you settle in and you start listening in their content, you'll hear something like, do nothing. I said that today, right? Let's see what's going on. Because it sounds empowering at first. But if you listen closely, that statement in the title, do nothing, by itself, that's not empowerment. It's withdrawal dressed up as strategy. Now, why is that important? Because right now you're listening, okay? You need context. You need to hear the full story, the full explanation, the full message. If you stop at do nothing, you're going to get it wrong. So it's okay for someone to say do nothing, but you need to go and find out what in the world are they talking about. Otherwise, when you hear something like that, it's just going to make you pull away, right? What did I say? Withdrawal. All right? It's withdrawal dressed up as strategy. Because if doing nothing leads to miscommunication, leads to missed opportunities, and leads to emotional distance, then you're not building a relationship. I'm so sorry. You're not building a relationship like that. You're managing one actually from a distance, from the sidelines, because you technically aren't even in the freaking relationship anymore. And now, let me get on the gross misuse of psychology, because this happens a lot. You'll hear words like dopamine. You've heard me say it if you've been here. You'll hear words like attraction. You've heard me say it if you've been here. You'll hear masculine energy, right? And these are all words I have used or will use, possibly, on Speaking Smashinese, because I have been educated in psychology. People in the psychology space have been taught these words. So they know these terms. All of my vocabulary, okay, about psychology, I shouldn't say all, but a small portion would exist had I not studied psychology. Or I may have heard it and have been able to use the word, but if is it really in your vocabulary if you don't know what the heck it means? Anyway, IJS. But when you hear someone say something like blah 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 and dopamine blah blah blah, and they follow this esoteric vocabulary word drop, which is used to impress you, if we want to be real about it, then they say something stupid and wrong and overgeneralizing, like men need to chase women to feel good. Well, when they said men, they have tried to teach you that all men need to chase women to feel good on the inside. That's not true. But when they do it using these psychology terms, that sounds kind of scientific, right? And if it sounds scientific, it must be true, right? But it's incomplete. Because dopamine isn't about gender. Dopamine is not something that you can say, dopamine, blah, blah, blah. All men, dopamine, blah, blah, blah. Dopamine is about anticipation and reward cycles in all humans. That means men and women. Men and women, people. Every single one of us. So when psychology is used to justify a rigid dating rule, right? That's not education. That's, what is that? That's storytelling with scientific words. IJS. I'm just saying. Another sign you're listening to someone with unresolved relationship issues is that with that person, with them, everything becomes a strategy. They give you useless or even harmful advice, like don't text first, or make him wonder, or what else do they say? They say that you must control the dynamic, right? But when you take this 8th grade advice, the goal isn't even connection anymore. You are on a mission of control. And once you enter that space, you're no longer building a relationship. You, my heart walkers, are doing nothing more than playing a game. But some of these people are so charismatic and so likable. How will you know that they've been hurt? Or if it's a man, how do you know he's not just, and when I say if it's a man, if the messenger is a male, right, giving advice, how do you know that he just simply could not pull the woman that he wanted in life, or the women that he thought, the types of women, I should say, that he thought he deserved? Well, you are in luck, because people with agendas, guess what, cannot hide their agendas very well. Okay? I owe you guys some push-ups. We're going to get into what to look for in a second. Don't have my gloves today. Gotta make sure I don't touch my face while I'm recording. But if you are new here, yes, I paused walking because we take a pause and we either do some push-ups or some burpees or some jumping jacks or some body weight squats or some lunges or some anything to help get our heart rate up even further, especially if you're not out in a neighborhood with tons of hills like I am. But even if you are, still do it. It only pushes your fitness to the next level. And keep in mind, yes, we talk about relationships from a psychology point of view here, but I have low-key created a podcast where I can also hold myself accountable, get my own weight under control, and sneak some personal training or some fitness onto you guys. All right? I don't bark. I do. So do it with me and watch what happens. You're listening, you're learning, but we're working out as well. Please, even if you're home in your living room or your dorm or your bedroom or your basement, whatever, you're on your lunch break listening. If you can't walk or the weather is bad, walk in place, march in place for this little bit of time. Let me shut up and give you guys these push-ups. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, do me a favor.
5,
While I'm catching my breath, subscribe to the channel or download the podcast. Thanks.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I'm competing with the geese, guys. If you're on YouTube, you can probably see that. Beautiful. Okay. Now, maybe you can hear my counting. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50. Okay. So I think I did 150 or 200 yesterday. Maybe 50 push-ups is enough for today because, yes, I do feel them. Okay. We were talking about the educated, articulate relationship advice guru who is also a male. Okay? How do you know that you can listen to this person and that he does not have some type of gender bias because he simply wasn't the man he thought he was, and he couldn't pull the women that he thought he deserved in life, or he was friend zoned over and over again? Okay, here are some of the things to look out for. Everything they say is focused on attraction or pursuit or early stage dynamics, blah, 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 okay? Nearly everything they say will be focused on those three things. But They say almost nothing about emotional safety or communication or compatibility. Someone who believes themselves to be an alpha male, okay, some red pill, blue pill fanatic who believes he should be able to have any woman that he wants because he has deemed himself deserving or a catch to any woman on planet Earth. These people, guess what? They do not talk about, especially compatibility, okay? But they also speak sparingly, if at all, on emotional safety and communication. Or they talk about communication and they distort it, okay? Which is like teaching someone how to start a fire, but never teaching them how to keep it burning, okay? And this is a common thing we see with these types of individuals. So, as you listen to anybody's content going forward, yes, I'm an anybody, okay? Including mine. Ask yourself, is this helping me understand relationships or just helping me win moments inside my relationship? Because today, we're going to take a concept you've probably heard before from other creators or book authors. And I mentioned this earlier, but I only said the first part of it. And that is, do nothing for men. Now, when you're listening to me, you got to listen. Because I like taking things and making it appear that I'm on someone's side, but I'm actually cleaning some stuff up, okay? Yeah, I apologize, okay, to my peers and my colleagues. But we're gonna clean that advice up, that statement up, Heartwalkers, because I want you to get it right. We're going to strip it down and rebuild it into something that actually works. Not just for attraction, but for real relationships. And I hope y'all are still walking with me. Hydrate if you need to, please. Now, in my title, I'm begging all women to do nothing for men. And before I sound like just another bitter person with unresolved relationship issues, and before you say, that sounds toxic, coach. That sounds toxic. Stay with me. Because most of you, I'm making this episode because most of you are really doing way too much. Here's a quick question. Have you ever, you listening, you the Heartwalker, have you ever worked harder on a relationship than the relationship worked for you? Okay? I'll repeat. Have you ever worked harder on a relationship than the relationship worked for you? Think about that while we define doing nothing. The correct definition. Okay, which is another issue that I have with a lot of these influencers and content creators and therapists and psychologists and doctors and PhDs. They use the terms without defining the terms, and that isn't fair to the regular person who really is trying to learn something, but they have no idea what the hell these people are talking about. So, the correct definition of doing nothing. Doing nothing does not mean ignoring your partner. Doing nothing does not mean playing mental or emotional games with your partner. Doing nothing does not mean acting cold or distant toward your partner. That is not what we're trying to accomplish here. That's not what we're doing here. Okay? That's not what we're doing here. Doing nothing means not over functioning in a relationship. Let me simplify it down to actual verbs or verb phrases. When you do nothing, that means you stop trying to fix everything in the relationship by yourself. You stop trying to initiate everything in the relationship. I want you to stop carrying all the weight in your relationship by yourself. Was that request clear? Hold on, guys. I think there's a car pulling out. Okay. Let me put my personal trainer hat back on real quick while I attempt to pass this car again without getting hit. If you're on YouTube, you can see what I'm doing. In podcast land, I have to let you know that I haven't passed out in these streets. All right? So this is Coach Sumo, the personal trainer or the coach right now. If you're in the gym with me and I'm lifting nothing, I'm not doing crap, while you're lifting everything, who's getting stronger? Not me. Well, the same thing is true in relationships. And since I have my personal trainer hat on right now, let's go ahead. Let's take our active rest, and we're going to do some push-ups, or you're doing your jumping jacks, or you're doing your squats, or your box squats. Okay? But I owe you guys, so let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Okay. Now, I know I said earlier that I did so many push-ups yesterday that I would stop. And not do any more push-ups today. But all I did was sneak in another teaching moment, right? I simply modified the push-up so that it was easier. Hi, my dear. I modified the push-up, and I want you guys to do the exact same thing. Continue to push yourself. This is how we get better, okay? And I had the hat on anyway, right? We were in the gym anyway, right? You and your partner need to improve and get stronger, okay? In relationships, no one can do all the work, or should do all the work by themselves. If you're doing that, please check yourself. You're grown. It's none of my business, but please check yourself. Now, ladies, let's say you're always the one who texts first. You're the one who plans the dates. You fix all the arguments and all the disagreements. You make the sacrifices in the relationship and adjust your schedule for couples stuff. And on top of all of this nonsense, you are the only one chasing clarity. You. And your man, your boyfriend, your husband, that guy you're with, that unappreciative fool that you fell in love with, all he does is respond. Now think about it. I called him unappreciative. I didn't say he was ugly. I didn't say he was dumb. I didn't say he was lazy. I didn't say he wasn't a provider. I didn't say he wasn't funny. I didn't say that he wasn't even a desirable person. This is what happens when your lips get cold in the cold weather. Sorry about that, guys. Pronouncing some of these words. I didn't say any of those things. But that doesn't mean that the relationship still can't be one-sided. Because all this man does is respond. But you're the one who does and does and does and does. If I just described your relationship, I want you to ask yourself, if I stop doing everything in my relationship, starting today, after I finish my walk with Coach Sumo, what would actually happen? And the fact that you even have to ask this question means you are likely doing way too much for the person you are with. But what makes people like you overfunction? What causes that? Well, okay. Let's define overfunction first. Overfunctioning is doing more than your share to keep something alive. How's that? But Coach Sumo, I know what overfunctioning means. Why does it happen? Well, every case is slightly different, but it could mean you have a fear of losing the person that you're with. That's valid, right? Or on the more sinister or evil side, you might just have an insatiable desire to control things and outcomes in your relationship. This just might be who you are, so you like it this way. Or it could be simple. It could be something as harmless as the dynamics of emotional attachment. And I know all of this that's going on in your relationship feels like love, okay? You feel like, well, I'm doing everything because I love him. It'll work itself out. It isn't love, sweetie. It's actually anxiety in action. Here's the truth about attraction that I believe other content creators miss, despite many of them being very intelligent people. You can tell when you listen to them. People are attracted to those who have a strong sense of self. Most people, we're not going to overgeneralize, okay? Call me out if I do it. But most people like people who have a freaking life, okay? Most people like people who have a life. Most people like people who are not afraid to set boundaries with friends and family, because this demonstrates strength and seriousness, okay? Strong people are able to set boundaries. And let's keep it real. Most of us adore people who have goals and priorities and stick to them, okay? Because we know about the dreamers that never take action, right? We've met a few of those people, or we've been guilty ourselves, okay? Like me and this podcast that I procrastinated on, started, stopped, started, and stopped. But anyway, just being transparent, not pointing fingers at people. Look at yourself first. To most people, you are not very attractive if you have no opinions or voice of your own. Have you ever been with someone who can't even sit and have a conversation with you unless they are talking about something that they are into? This just isn't cute, okay? You're with a guy and all he can talk about or get excited about is sports. Not cool. Okay? What happens when you live together? It's almost like what a lot of guys call rollover intimacy. Okay? So use your imagination. You're in the same bed, and intimacy for you is her never doing anything. You just roll over. Something happens. Something stops happening. The end. I got to keep it clean, guys. I have to protect my platform. Apparently, it's not good to speak like adults online. But yes, something happened. Yes, intimacy occurred. But it's just not the same. In a relationship, both people need to initiate. And this definitely includes intimacy. The person that just never shows interest cannot be very attractive, no matter what their face and body look like. Okay? Stop thinking that attractiveness is all in someone's physical appearance. Attractiveness is all of you. Okay? So, are you attractive to your partner? Or are you just the other person in the relationship? You're just the other person that's there. Are they really, really attractive to you? Or are they just the other person in the relationship? Or maybe I could say, are you just available for whatever isn't painful? Hey, this doesn't really mean anything, but I'm here, and like, as long as it doesn't hurt, it's cool. As long as it doesn't hurt, I'm here for it. Come on, guys. And let's hit it. Let's hit both sides of that. Heart walkers. Is your partner really, really, really an all-around attractive person? Or are they just with you and waiting for you to do everything? Got a helicopter overhead, guys. I hope you can still hear me. Let's keep walking. I'm going to pause momentarily, just in case. Okay, I think that's better. I need you to remember, attractiveness means you have value beyond what your face and body look like. Have you even heard that before? Because it's not only true, it's super true. I know there's no such thing as super true, but you know what I mean. Attractiveness means you have value beyond what your face, your smile, and your eyes, and your body, and your six-pack looks like. That's all superficial. And having all of those things makes you pleasing to look at for certain people. But this is not a true psychological, real world definition of attractiveness. Because some of you that are listening, and myself included, you have broken up with some people. You have exes that were superficially fine, superficially beautiful, but you're not with them because they were some of the most hideous people you ever met in your life. Okay? Ugly is all consuming. This is what I need you to remember, guys. The whole thesis of this episode. Healthy relationships are not one person doing everything. Today, I was directing my thoughts and my energy toward the ladies. What's up, ladies? So let me change what I just said to direct it toward the ladies. Ladies, if you're the only one doing everything in your relationship, you are not in a healthy relationship. Because ladies, healthy relationships are not one person doing nothing. Healthy relationships are mutual investment. What in the world is this man talking about? What is Coach Sumo talking about? Calm down. In a healthy relationship, both people, all caps, BOTH, both people initiate. Both people communicate and start conversations. If you're with me, come up with something sometimes. I'll talk about it. You want to talk about what happened at work or the gossip that you had with your friends? We're talking. I'm cool with it. We're together. Okay? I might not even understand it all, but I want to talk to you. That's one of the reasons I'm with you. And guys, just remember, I didn't make this episode so women could ignore you or dismiss you or act cold towards you or act distant, right? I made it so that everybody understands that in a relationship, both people show effort. But now you might be wondering, is there ever a time when it's okay to do nothing in a relationship? And the answer is absolutely. Absolutely. There are moments where doing nothing is actually powerful. When someone isn't reciprocating, y'all know what reciprocate means, right? Okay? That means somebody is giving back, is doing something back. They're responding. That's what reciprocate means. Okay? You ever kiss somebody and it just feels like they're not kissing you back? Close your eyes, fool, and get into it. Reciprocate. That's what reciprocate means. When somebody isn't reciprocating, stop chasing. Yep. If you're making an effort to do something, and this could be anything, and your partner isn't actively returning the attention, stop chasing that fool. There you go. That's one time that it's absolutely okay to do nothing for real, like the real nothing. So when I made this title, I wasn't talking about nothing for real, right? I had to explain it and give context to what I meant in my hook, in my title. But if somebody is not reciprocating, then the way you understood do nothing before listening to this show, yeah, stop chasing them. That's it. Stop chasing them. Because then it becomes one-sided once again. When someone is inconsistent. Stop filling in the gaps for inconsistent people. Once again, this is doing nothing, right? but in a good way. Okay? This is the kind of do nothing that's okay. Like the real do nothing. When you feel anxious in your relationship, pause instead of reacting. Oh, yeah. See, that's on the list as well. When you feel anxious, literally do nothing. Okay? Not all the psychological stuff we talked about today, but when you feel anxious, chill. Pause. I need you to pause and don't react. Give yourself time to think about it. Let it sink in. Do nothing. The real do nothing. Because in your relationship, okay, ask yourself, are you responding to reality, something real, concrete, tangible, or are you trying to control the situation? Right? When you respond to something, is this harmonious? Is this melodious? Is this genuine? Or are you forcing something? That's what I mean by that statement. Are you being too forgiving to your partner? Are you enabling your partner? Are you giving your partner a pass? Are you giving your partner a mulligan? Because if you are, this will not end well for you. And this, I'm referring to your relationship. This is what you should do instead. Okay? Instead of doing nothing, okay, the doing nothing that you learned about today, you remember, okay? You remember the wrong nothings that your partner is doing or not doing. Y'all get where I'm coming from. See, here's the problem. When somebody doesn't carry their weight, look at how upside down it gets. It almost sounds confusing trying to explain it because I'm trying to say when somebody's not doing their part, don't fill in for them. Okay? That's the good do nothing because you're not helping your relationship. I'm sorry. Is it even a relationship? Okay? Let me know if you understand what's going on. But this same confusion, if you are confused, this is what happens in relationships where the woman does everything on her own. And people, this has nothing to do with finances. This has nothing to do with financially supporting somebody. This has nothing to do with the woman being the breadwinner and making the most money in the house. This is another problem. This is another concern. Okay? This is another thing that's damaging relationships because you guys are making it about who makes more money in the household, and you're letting your friends tell you that that's what doing everything means. That's not what doing everything means. Okay, there are bills. The bills need to get paid. The end. Okay? There's so much more than that. This is not what I'm talking about today. Okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about all the other things we listed and spoke about earlier in the conversation. All right? Are you always the one doing everything? Because you could still be the one always doing everything. And you could be the one earning the least or have no job at all. Okay? Because just because a man has deep pockets and is paying all the bills, it doesn't mean that he's doing everything right and that what we spoke about today doesn't apply to you. Okay? Because some men will rest on the fact that they're paying all the bills and taking care of you. You deserve so much more than that. It's not just about money, okay? Do the right things in your relationship. Upgrade your approach to your nearly absent partner. Okay? Let's try these things. Express your needs clearly. Don't argue. Don't bark. Don't growl. Okay? Express your needs clearly. If you have to do it in 2 or 3 ways, then do so. If you need Gemini or Claude or ChatGPT or Google, use them. If you have to write it down first and read it to yourself, do that. If the relationship matters to you, it may feel funny to you. Who cares? Okay? But you need to express your needs clearly. And you can't do that if you have an attitude or you're creating friction while you do it. Okay? But when you do this, observe your man's response closely. Don't do it over text message. Okay? Please don't do it over text message. I already created a show about texting. Don't do it. Watch that show. Okay? It's not for important relationship stuff. All right? You want to observe this man. And guess what? They're going to do what they want to do no matter what. No matter how sweet you are. No matter how giving you are. No matter how deserving you are. No matter how beautiful or how attractive you are. How patient you are. They're going to do what they really want to do. And I'm not saying this in a bad way, but we all ultimately are going to do what we really want to do in our life. But guess what? Whatever they do, however they respond to you, when you tell them, when you express your needs clearly, match your partner's effort. Don't exceed it. There you go. When I said in the title, I'm begging women to do nothing for men, this is what I meant. Okay? Don't give them any more than they give you if the relationship is already lopsided and you're doing everything anyway? Don't exceed their effort. Your energy should match their energy. Okay? Now remember, there are exceptions to this, right? But we're talking about things are already off. Okay? This fool already just isn't there. They're just not fully there for you. It is okay. We got another helicopter, guys. I'm sorry. Let's keep walking, though. See another bench. I'm going to get some more push-ups anyway. I don't know if you're on YouTube, if you guys can see this or not. Maybe. A few more seconds. Out there in podcast land. Okay. This is what I wanted to say. It's okay to give just as much as you are getting from someone else. Protect your sanity and your energy. You must maintain your own life. Don't make excuses for your partner. Do not make excuses for your partner. Effort should be met, not manufactured. And I hope you know what I mean by that. It's give and take, okay? You make effort, I make effort. But I'm not making effort because you're making effort. I'm making effort because I love you and I want this to work. You should be doing the same thing. But there should not be one person, and today we're talking about you ladies, to be making an effort, genuinely making an effort, and then you also excusing this fool and they don't deserve it. That is what I mean by manufactured. Okay? Effort should be met, not manufactured. Effort should be matched, not loaned and not borrowed. Okay? We're going to finish up. Got this table. These benches are calling me. I'm going to take another active break from walking. And get some more push-ups in. Actually, let's flip it. I'm going to do some box squats. Okay? You guys get something in with me and we're going to close out this episode. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay. I don't care how many you do. Do something. Because if you do 3, that's 3 that you wouldn't have done. Okay? as we catch our breath from our calisthenics, let me put my fitness coach hat back on real quick as I tackle another hill. If I'm spotting you in the gym, and for those unfamiliar with fitness clubs or you haven't been to a gym before, spotting someone just means they're about to do something dangerous because they're lifting something heavy, and you are there to make sure that the weight doesn't cave their chest in, okay? If I'm spotting you in the gym, I'm not lifting the weight for you. I'm helping you lift the weight yourself. That's what a healthy relationship looks like. No one partner should be making all of the effort and doing all of the love work. Because at the end of the day, you don't need to do everything to be chosen. You shouldn't have to do everything for someone for them to choose you, right? You need to be yourself consistently and allow someone, that other person, to meet you where you are. That's the thought that we will end on today. Heart walkers, okay? This last hill just ruined me. Keep walking, guys, okay? Keep pursuing the best version of yourself. I will walk with you guys in the next episode. Ciao.